Hello, I'm Robert, and you're always welcome here in my busy little shop. On today's episode of What's on My Workbench, I've got some new tools here I wanted to share with you. It's been a fun and busy summer, and I had a few minutes, and I was nosing around in Texas Leather Tools website, and I saw they had some new tools. At least they were promoting them. We're going to get these out and we're going to play a little bit with them. I don't have a project in mind today. Well, always got projects in mind, but we're not going to build a project today. But I thought I would share these tools with you there. And then they also sent along a pattern pack, and it is a wallet. And I'll take a look at it and see. I don't do a lot of wallets. This one's pretty simple, straightforward design. It's heavily tooled and painted and dyed and all of that. You could use this pattern just as a folded wallet and make a wallet as well. And I might do that, not in today's video, but let's get over here and take a look at these new tools. I appreciate you spending time with me in the shop. We'll get over here and get started. We'll add a little moisture to this and we can open that up and look, but we'll just use a couple of drops here and see what these designs look like. There's the pattern pack. It's a July 4th wallet here. And it really looks pretty interesting how it's basically one piece of leather here that's all folded to create that wallet. So I'll have to get out and play with it here and see. Let's take a look at these tools. I'm always blown away by the packaging to make sure that they arrive with the least amount of chance of having damage. I know, more moisture. So let's look here. So this one here was the first one that caught my attention, and it's a feather here. And I played a little bit with that. I think there's a couple different ways that this feather could be utilized. And we'll just jump in here. If you don't remember, they give a discount, a 10% discount if you type Robert Little on their website in the discount line. And also, if you search Robert Little, you'll see the tools that I have. All right, so let's take a quick look here and see kind of the impression it makes. I think there's a few different ways. I was looking at the design online trying to figure out how I would use it. I think that, obviously that's a smart thing to do. But first, let's just do a run down the middle of the belt here. And there's the feather that it makes. I don't know if you can see that very well or not. But when I was looking at it, I'm always thinking belts and new belt designs. And let me move you around here a little bit. And this, I think you can tuck right into here. And I do think that there are directions of travel, and as I go here, I may see that I would change my direction of travel. Sorry about the shadows. I'm using the tail end of the feather right on that line, and this other semi-pointed end helps it pretty easily be registered here on this. And with this straight edge here, I'm able to also use that along the side here. I'm amazed, and I know you guys already know, but the design definition on these brass stamps I find really kind of amazing. The detail you can get in a small area. So you could see how you could build on that, whether you're doing maybe a, I don't know, a knife sheath with the feather on there. I think that's a pretty good look. And then I was looking for ways, I'm always interested to see, how am I going to like finish the design? In other words, I think if I was doing a belt, I know I should have centered my design, but if I was doing a belt, I could use that and use that as a finish out at the end of the belt. I wouldn't have a problem with that. And I don't know why, but these tails on the feather kind of, I thought, I don't know, looked a little bit rough there, but I suppose, let me stair step those out here. I suppose that's not a bad finish either, right? You could make it as wide or as narrow as you wanted. But what I was going to say is I was looking at this saying, if you liked this look or that look better, let's say you like this look better. Let me go back here and put in a couple more to show you. What I was going to say is you can turn that around, and I was looking at this design, and I think you could finish it up this way. I'm not sure if that was just how it came out or if they thought of that. But that tail tucks right into the design and allows you to finish it out rounded as well. Obviously this shape's a little bit different along here, but you can finish it out rounded. I toyed with the idea when I was looking at it of an angle. Let's see if we can find a way to angle this. Give you a different view here. If we lined up, let's say the tip on the line in this back corner here. I know some people don't like to run, say, a basket stamp down the center of a design like a belt, because if it wanders at all, it really shows up. So being able to set and do a design at an angle, I think, can be important. And I don't remember the part number, but I'll put it on the screen now so that you know what the part number is for the feather. Anyway, this might be kind of an interesting way to run at an angle on there as well. So here is the flag, and we will see. I was really intrigued by it, the detail in it, and I'm not sure if this leather is really deep enough to get that design, but I'll stack it. I had mentioned not long ago that the leather was kind of thin to get a good definition in, and someone said if you set it on top of another piece of leather, it'll give you the feel and definition of a thicker piece of leather. So let's make a line here. So that's the U.S. flag, and it's a basket weave. You can see it's arced there to give it that basket weave look. And okay, so here's a great example. you want the field of stars to stay, it needs to be upright on the pattern if there is an up on it. You don't want your flag upside down. But it could be easy to get that rotated and make a mistake. But there's that little mark right there. Can you see that? That little notch there, it's on one side and not the other. If it's this way, then it is right side up. So if I keep that towards me, well, I guess it depends on which way I'm going here, and I'll show you what I mean here in a second. So there is the U.S. flag. And I've said it, I'll say it again, I am not a basket weave tooling specialist by any means. I think that's probably the reason why I make my basket weave that I tool using the thumbprint and all that. You guys have seen it. It's more of a carved and tooled basket weave. So now I can see right now, I'm thinking that like lining up on that field of stars here, I'll go on this side here, lining up there and ending at the other field of stars gives me a nice overlap. I think this leather's been around a while. It's a little bit harder leather. I'm not sure it takes a stamp as nice as some. What I tend to do is set up and run like a center design or a center pattern down through there, and then I will rotate if it's on a belt, and I'm always thinking belts. It'll rotate around the other way to do the offside, and I can see that I probably would have been better to start here and build that direction, because as I turn this around now and go this direction, it's all about learning how to run the tool. Remember the notch? I don't want to see it now, do I? Otherwise I would be, well, you know what, that might be kind of a different look. Then it would be from one side, the flag would be right side up. The other thing is you'd have to make sure you got the pattern on the, if you're making a belt, the right direction so you don't end up with something upside down. Ask me how I know. Yep, I tooled that belt and then realized that didn't take into account the direction that you put it through the loops, and I had tooled James upside down. Now, I've got one friend, his name is Frank, and he puts his belt on the other way around. So I guess I just need to find a James that puts his belt on going backwards, and I'll be in business there. I know there's got to be some leather artists out there that specialize in basket weave patterns. I overlapped a little bit there. It seemed like I got maybe shifted a little bit long there, and I was visually looking off the field of diamonds and off this edge here. And I think it's important to, on a pattern, to make small adjustments instead of letting it grow. And next thing you know, you're like, oh, my ends are meeting up. That's kind of a cool design. I have to really give some idea or some thought to creating a basket weave belt. I have never made a basket weave belt. Well, I've never finished one. I've tried a few different times to use some of these basket weave designs and make a belt and end up frustrated with it and throwing it away. And I should probably, as I've suggested to you guys on a regular basis, I should probably finish it, because I'll probably learn a few things, and one of them might be that maybe it doesn't get as it doesn't look as bad as you think when you get to the other end. I realize now I kind of smashed some of my design there on my feathers, but I really like the feathers. I think that one is definitely going to end up in some of my belt designs, and I'll have to look and see where I run that. It bothers me to have it on something where it might get turned around the wrong way, you know, because the flag is supposed to hang a certain direction. But maybe I'm letting that bother me too much. All right, let's put that one away. I'll be thinking about designs. Let me know which design you like the most once you've seen them all, or maybe give me some ideas of where you might run those. Let me put a couple of lines down here. So this is a, I think I would run this as a border. I suppose you might be able to match this up and run this to fill in an area, but once again, lots of definition here in this design. And on each one of these, I will, and I'm kind of reminding myself more than anything, I'll put a, on the screen, I'll put the part number on there, and I will put a link to these parts in the video description, along with the discount code in there to save 10% at Texas Leather Tools. That's kind of a cool design, I'll tell you what. Sometimes it's hard to look at something like that and see what it's going to be. What I'm doing, if you can see, there's a diamond here, one on each corner around the center design that builds the design. That is overlapped, and what I like about that, you're not guessing or trying to figure out where the placement is. I just set that diamond right in the other diamond there, and then I rotate this over until I'm lined up on my line, and there you go. So it really runs, and for me, running from right to left works the best visually. All right, I think I've got a winner here for sure. I like the feather, and I like this border. This might be a neat border to have on a belt. I know, I could make something else. I'm really known for my belts. I had someone the other day, I did a belt repair video, and someone said, "Aren't you afraid of being known as the belt repair guy?" And I'm wondering, I'm not sure if that means on YouTube or in my community where I set up and sell, but I'd like to be known as the guy that's willing to try to help somebody else. I really believe that's why I'm here today, is to show you guys my journey, and there's been so many times when I went to purchase something that I've said, I wish I could, you know, play with it and see it. And I think this is a close way for you to have that experience. In other words, you can see up close here. And I'm not trying to sell the tool, just trying to share my experience here. So in other words, if you go to somebody's website, they make everything look good, I suppose, or try to, because they're trying to sell it. I like that design. I don't know if it could be ran, you know, like a basket weave at an angle. Let's see if there's a way that marries together. these measure or step into each other? I don't think that they really do. In other words, if this was a consistent zigzag here, then you could shift partly and put a design in there. I don't think it really works that way. That would be center of tool to center of tool. Huh. Yeah, maybe. Where there's a will, there's a way. Is that the same? Yeah, you might be able to do that. That's kind of a different look as well. Well, this runs really pretty good in an all-over pattern. And those diamonds make all the difference in the world to keep that lined up. The first one, I'm visually looking, and I'm looking where the center of it is here to center here and lining that up there. And then I set those back diamonds in spot, and that helps me get the tool set right. That's a cool design. It'd take a little bit of time to do a complete belt, but I bet it would go faster than you think. All right. Well, as always, I appreciate you taking time to be here with me in the shop. It's fun to get new tools in, try to figure a way to make them work. I mean, obviously, when I'm looking at them online, I'm trying to visualize how I would utilize those. That is the nice thing about shopping in person, going to some of the different trade shows out there and, getting out the tools and leather and seeing how it works. But it's really not that big of an investment to try either. These tools are $20 a piece, or they were last time I looked. And I tell you what, that is just really, I tell you what, I started off not sure that was going to be a win, but I really like how that looks. And I'm going to try a belt with that design. As you know, I don't usually go buckle to tip with the design. I center it between the buckle and adjustment holes on there. So that helps to cut down a little bit of the time of tooling there, but it's also just kind of my signature look on a belt design. But I'm going to give that one a try. And the same with the flag. I was really worried about it getting tippy, and I don't have a lot of experience running a rectangular stamp like that basket weave American flag. And then the feathers is definitely a win here as well. So I've got stuff I can work with here. But I don't know if it's anybody else is that way, but you go online, you're looking at the design, and then they give you the size, and it's hard sometimes to see how it's going to play out. So for me to get it on some drops on a belt and create some designs and patterns there, I think that's always the better option. I said it a couple times in there. I'll put the discount code in the description. You know what? I'll put it on the screen right now because I can't remember now if it's Robert Little Leather or just Robert Little. I think it's just Robert Little. But that'll be the discount code. You can save 10% off. That gets you a couple more dollars off of that tool as well. And I think 3 tools is enough money, the brass stamps, to get free shipping. I think it's free shipping over $45. Well, once again, I really do appreciate you spending time with me in the shop today. Please like, share, and subscribe. But more importantly, I hope you have a great day.